I'm going to teach you how to play some rolls, even if you can't really play rolls yet. Cue the music. Alright, if you guys are finding me for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, this red button down below that says subscribe. That way you are notified anytime I put out a new video in regards to marching arts, marching bands, drum lines, percussion, drum corps, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single upload. Now also make sure that notification bell is ringing. That way for sure you'll be notified anytime I put out a new video. So subscribe, make sure that notification bell is ringing, and let's get to the video. Okay, so one of the things that I love to teach is I teach students how to play rolls. Now, in terms of playing rolls, I really believe it's one of the hardest things to learn. I can't really teach somebody off the street to play a roll right away if they've never played drums before. Okay, so now I can probably teach them to do this. Right? Anybody can do that. But to be able to do this, that's a process, because there's so many nuances that you have to learn within your hands to be able to have that rebound where it's like both notes are the same volumes and all that stuff, and to go fast, that's an acquired skill that takes a lot of development, a lot of time, and a lot of techniques to make that work. So if you are in a position where your hands just don't have the chops yet to be able to do that, let me talk about some things that you can do to help you play some rolls as quickly as possible. Okay, so one of the first things you can do, and most teachers will teach this, is you play an isolated diddle exercise like Sanford Shuffle, ABC, or like a triplet-based partial exercise. So for example, with ABC, you would do something like. With triple partials, you can go something like. Okay, so all those things are going to help you with your diddle development so that you can play some rolls. So that's one of the things you want to spend a lot of time doing many reps of in each hand, and just work those double stroke diddle chops, okay? The second thing I would recommend is, and I'll say the story again and again and again, when I was a freshman in high school, this is my first exposure to drumline and playing drums. I couldn't play rolls either, okay? Makes sense. I was a couple months into it. My hands just can't play rolls at that point, okay? But I did like that one of the cadences that the drum I played was, I noticed that the snares had a part that went something like this. Okay, so I picked up that there was I figured there was like a 5 part in there, right? So when I tried to play it, no, it didn't sound like 5s. It didn't sound like, and they probably sounded more like this. Okay, so they were bad rolls, okay? So the thing is, the fact that I tried to do it at all and, put some rolls within that space and understanding, that the timing and the relationship of it between the single strokes and the actual doubles, I learned something from that. I gained something from that. And in playing bad rolls, so even if it was like, I'm still trying, my hands are still learning how to do rolls. Like they're figuring out, okay, well, I'm doing this right now, all right, so, what can I do to kind of open it up and make it so that it's only 2 strokes rather than multiple strokes per hand, right? And then at some point, the training kicks in when I was doing more double beat exercises. Your hands start learning what to do in that situation when you have to put a roll in the piece that you're playing, okay? So now the third tip I would give you then is something that, is very common practice now, which is that you buzz where you would play a double stroke roll. So if you can't play a double stroke roll yet, play a buzz, play multiple strokes, right? So for example, for an exercise like chicken in a roll, if you can't do those double strokes, do multiple strokes. Right? So in that stroke of 16 notes, da, 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 instead of going da, 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 you would go da, 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 da. Right? So you're learning how the hands move in that situation when you actually do plug in those diddles. Okay? Now a lot of times too, if you have an exercise where you isolate diddles within a 16-note framework, if you can't do that diddle yet, you can go, right? So this is a very common practice now. Wasn't the case when I first started learning it, but that kind of goes in line with what I said. That kind of goes in line with what I said about play some bad rolls. You know, if you can't play rolls at all, right? It's better doing it and trying it and doing it badly and learning from it rather than not even trying at all because, you know, oh, well, you know, I can't play rolls right now, so I'm not going to even try. And at the end of the day, if your piece of music calls for some rolls, doing some buzzes or some bad rolls is still a roll. Like, you know, a buzz roll is still a roll. So if you can't do a double stroke roll, do that. Do what you can do, and eventually, you know, as you train your hands to do more double beat exercises, isolate those diddles, your hands will learn how to do it. Trust me, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so I've seen this a lot of times with my students, younger students who are like in 6th grade, 7th grade, can't do rolls, you know, don't have the chops. That's fine. That's okay. That's where they are in their development. So I told them to play some bad rolls or some buzzes, some multiple strokes, and then eventually, even without me really talking about how to do a diddle or a double stroke, they figured it out on their own and they started going. Granted, I might have showed them some double beat exercises here and there, but still, largely, they came with that on their own. So like I said, like, you know, it was the same thing with me, where nobody really broke down rolls for me. Your hands just kind of figure out what to do when you do all 3 of those tips that I talked about. Okay, so if you need to learn how to play rolls, that's how I would do it. That's how I would teach it to your students if you're an instructor. And that's some really quick, easy ways that you can get students to play some rolls. Okay, and that's how you can learn how to play some rolls if you can't play rolls yet. So don't fret. It does take time. It is part of a long process to get to that point. But keep trying, learn by doing, and eventually you'll get it. Okay, so cool, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you guys did and you like this video, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, and it really helps me out. Helps out the channel. Helps me put out more content like this. So I can put out more content that's going to be helpful to you, valuable to you, so you can get better with your drumming experience, I guess you could say. If you have any questions or comments, leave that in the comments below as well. If you have not subscribed yet, after I told you to subscribe, I want to come out with videos like this. I have video blogs. It's all good. It's all fun. 2020 is going to be a huge year. We're going to put out some really cool content, so make sure you don't miss it. Subscribe so you're notified anytime I put out a new video, okay? And if you feel like this video could help somebody else out, maybe it's somebody who is just starting to learn how to play drums, send them this video, right? And take it from me. I mean, I was at the exact same point that they were. Couldn't play rolls, didn't have the chops to do it, was a couple months in, and can't play rolls, but I just tried them anyway. Hopefully that story can serve as inspiration that, you know, yeah, it's going to take time. You're not going to get it right away. Like, you know, and that maybe that's something that there's a misconception that you can just learn how to play rolls right away. Like, no. It's a process. It takes a while. It's not something that you can get right away. Nobody comes into drums without having any prior knowledge of drumming, and all of a sudden you teach them a few techniques and okay, I can play double strokes now. It does not work that way. It's a process. There's a system. There's a method to it. So make sure you follow that process. Be patient, and you will get it. Okay. So if you feel like this video could help somebody else out, make sure you share this with them. Okay, so that they see it as well. That's pretty much all I have today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. What you guys should totally do next is watch more of my videos by clicking over here and subscribing over here. Peace out. Catch you guys on the next video.